Hello everyone, Chris Elliott here, and today I'm going to be debunking a PragerU video titled, Who is Karl Marx? And while it is a pretty old video, I think it's over a year old now, you can watch it yourself. I'll have to link in the description so you can make sure I'm not strawmanning them or leaving anything important out. I'm choosing this one to debunk, as out of all their videos, it's the one that appears to address the topic of communism most directly, so that's why I've chosen it to debunk. That said, I find it somewhat laughable that there's still people who think capitalism is better than communism, but anyway, let's get on to the beginning of my debunk of the video. Because before I even address the video itself, I have to talk about the thumbnail. So what it has here is some sort of picture of who I assume to be Karl Marx, with some thought bubbles around him. Now, first I'll address the one thought bubble that it has crossed out, which shows the symbols of several religions. First of all, you people, i.e. PragerU and the alt-right, have no position to be putting Muslims in there, as you yourselves often attack Muslims. But anyway, as for the topic of religion in general, Marx didn't hate religion, nor did he want it to be banned. He was simply open to acknowledging the negative consequences it can have, especially when let interfere with politics. He had nothing against religious people and didn't want it to be banned. He simply himself was not religious, felt that religion should not divide us, and was openly acknowledged all the negative effects it can have when we let it form a political party, since that is, as I'm sure you know, theocracy. And anyway, so then on to the thought bubbles that look favorable, or that they say Marx liked. One of them is of the hammer and sickle, which, yes, Marx almost definitely would have approved of its original use under Lenin and the Bolsheviks in the founding of the Soviet Union. However, that's not to say that Marxism encourages the brutalities that were later committed under that symbol. Although, to be fair, I think the US has committed equally atrocious brutalities. But anyway, so, yeah. And as for the gears, I assume those to be representing perhaps industrialization, science, progress, dialectical materialism, which all were things Marx supported since they have demonstrable benefits for humanity. Anyway, now to get on to the actual video.
Ideas have consequences, sometimes good, sometimes bad, and sometimes catastrophic, like the ideas of Karl Marx.
Or like the ideas of capitalism, which plenty of people suffer under, myself included. But no, let's see what this guy has to say.
Born in Trier, Germany in 1818, Marx didn't invent communism, but it was on his ideas that Lenin and Stalin built the Soviet Union.
And of course, what all capitalists want to bring it back to, Stalin. There are some good traits of Stalin that I may address in a later video of mine, but I'll acknowledge he did do awful things. But that is one communist leader you're talking about. Capitalists have Leopold II, Tadeki Tojo, and numerous others like Jackson, Pierce, Buchanan, Trump, Putin. You get the idea. And I would argue that Trotsky did just as much to create the Soviet Union as Stalin did. Oh, fun fact, by the way, Leon Trotsky was only 17 when he first got involved with the Bolsheviks.
Mao built communist China, and innumerable other tyrants, from the Kims in North Korea to the Castros in Cuba, built their communist regimes.
North Korea is not communist. It's Juche. They're different. Why is it so hard for these people to understand this? Communism and Juche are radically different. Extremely different. I'm tired of hearing this, people.
The Castros in Cuba built their communist regimes. Ultimately, those regimes and movements calling themselves Marxists murdered about 100 million people and enslaved more than a billion. Marx believed that.
First, Cuba is the 61st least corrupt nation on Earth. And that's coming from a society, or organization, I mean, that is biased in favor of the US. So, even, i.e., the Corruption Perception Index, but even it recognizes Cuba to be the 61st least corrupt nation in the world, so Cuba's probably even less corrupt than it recognizes it to be. And as for the 100 million people murdered by, quote unquote, murdered by communism, the British Empire alone is responsible for the deaths of over 100 million people. That's ignoring all the people killed by other communist nations like the US and France. So, I mean, other capitalist nations like the US and France. So, capitalism is actually responsible for the deaths of more people than communism is. Yeah.
100 million people and enslaved more than a billion. Marx believed that workers, specifically those who did manual labor, were exploited by capitalists, the people who owned, as Marx put it, the means of production, specifically factories, but who did very little physical labor themselves. Only a workers' revolution, Marx wrote in Das Kapital, could correct this injustice. What would that revolution look like? Marx and his collaborator Friedrich Engels spelled it out point by point in the Communist Manifesto. It included the abolition of property and inheritance, and the centralization of credit, communication, and
No, Marx did not want to abolish property. He wanted to abolish bourgeois property, i.e., property that can be used to enslave others. That being property in such abundance that whomever owns it inevitably requires others to tend to it.
wants and controls pretty much everything. This notion was widely discussed and debated in European intellectual circles during Marx's lifetime, but nothing much came of it until Vladimir Lenin took power in Russia in 1917. This changed everything. Despite its repeated economic failures, Lenin's Russia, which became known as the Soviet Union, became the model for dictators around the world. Wherever Marx's
Lenin was not a dictator, and I don't know that would be right. Even if he was, he wouldn't be the model for dictators around the world, as there's been plenty of non-communist dictators, so every word of what you just said was wrong.
until Vladimir Lenin took power in Russia in 1917. This changed everything. Despite its repeated economic failures, Lenin's Russia, which became known as the Soviet Union, became the model for dictators around the world. Wherever Marx's ideas were practiced, life got worse. Not by a little, but by a lot. There's not a single exception to this rule. Not the Soviet Union, not Eastern Europe, not China, not North Korea, not Vietnam, not Cuba, not Venezuela, not Bolivia, not Zimbabwe. Wherever Marxism goes, economic collapse, terror, and famine follow.
Okay, so you listed a lot, but first, the Soviet Union. Life was really only particularly bad in the Soviet Union under the reigns of Stalin through Khrushchev. Under everyone else, it was pretty good, and at the very least better than it was under the Romanovs. Under North Korea, that wasn't actually communism, that was Juche. Under China, while I admit things did get pretty bad, they were overall better than the prior regime. The same with Vietnam and Laos. And then Cuba, I don't even know where you're getting Cuba from. Cuba's one of the most incredible to live and enjoyable nations on Earth. Things got better there, if anything. And all the other nations you listed weren't really communist for very long before the US or sometimes France led a coup against the Communist Party in their imperialism. So I don't know what to say about them, because they can't be said to be successes or failures, as they were around for such a brief period of time. Anyway, as it's sort of become the norm, I'm gonna have to make this video 2 parts long, so see you guys next time.